Greetings and welcome. Now, I want to talk about Joey Barton. Now, those of you who don't know, he's an ex-footballer. He was an alright footballer. He was okay. Probably more famous for getting in trouble with the law most of the time. But this week, he's getting himself into hot water and he's digging himself into a gigantic hole that I just can't see how he's going to get out of with his comments on social media about female presenters in the game.
Women shouldn't be talking with any kind of authority in the men's game. Come on. Let's be serious. It's a totally different game. I cannot take a thing they say seriously in the men's arena.
He was on Piers Morgan this week to try and defend his comments that he made, and he revealed that it all sort of started when there was a particular female presenter that analysed the goal and said that the footballer had scored it with his laces when he'd actually side-footed it.
Well, I heard the comments from the Liverpool Fulham game about, the Endo goal. The Japanese boy Endo scores, and the commentator was female, co-com's female, and she talked about Endo scores with his laces. Now, anyone who watched that, who had any knowledge of football, seen that Endo scored with the side of his foot. And
instead of doing what he should have done and just come out on social media and criticise that particular presenter, there's shit female presenters out there. There are. The same as there's shit male presenters out there. I can't stand Lee Dixon. He bores me to tears. Daniel Sturridge, great player when he was fit in his prime, but his football analysis is terrible. I can't stand him. There's shit female presenters, there's shit male presenters. But what he ended up doing is just going on this incoherent rant, indefensible rant, most importantly, about how female presenters, female footballers are not qualified to talk about the men's game.
But Joey, someone like Alex Scott, right, who has had tremendous success as a player, been very successful as a television presenter, is she not qualified? Does she not meet your criteria?
To talk about the men's game? To talk about the men's game?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she hasn't played in it. She hasn't played in any games. I've played in and been involved as a manager in 657 professional men's games. Now, the women's game's a fantastic game at the minute. It's thriving. I've never seen as many opportunities. The England team wins stuff in the women's game. I think Sander Weigmann's done a great job raising the awareness for the women's game. It's phenomenal. But the men's game and the women's game in this country are different. One's about 200 years old and one's about 30, 40 years old. If you go back to kind of Doncaster Bells and the inception for women, I've lived through it.
Which is obviously ridiculous and obviously indefensible. Like I say, he's just digging himself into a further hole that he just can't get out of, because once you make that comment, you're then in the position that you have to try and defend the fact that much loved British commentators like John Motson, Martin Tyler, Des Lynam back in the day never played the game. So apparently now, according to Joey Barton, they're not qualified to talk about the men's game because they've never played it. So it's obviously ridiculous. Like I say, this guy is just digging himself deeper into a hole. He's either just completely stubborn and probably by now knows that he's wrong and just cannot backtrack and apologise or anything like that, or he's searching for some sort of job on Talk TV or GB News along with the anti-woke agenda. And I say, he just keeps digging himself a further hole, this guy. He then went on a back and forth with a well-loved female football presenter and ex-footballer Alex Scott. Now, it started when Alex Scott put out a sort of retaliation video at the end of one of her football segments.
Just before we say goodbye to all the women in football, in front of the camera, behind it, to the players on the pitch, to everyone that attends game, keep being the role models that you continue to be. To all those young girls that are told, no, you can't. Football is a better place with us all in it. Goodbye.
And then he decided to dig himself even further into a hole by going on this incoherent rant.
Continue to what? Sorry, Alex Scott. I can't say you don't know men's football. You don't. Sorry, you don't have a clue. And you were a really bad player compared to even a Sunday League player, in my opinion. The winner of the FA National Sunday Cup this year would easily beat in a cup final at Wembley for charity the winner of the Barclays WWS, the Women's League from this season, or England Women's Lionesses.
about how the best Sunday League team in the country would be able to beat the Lionesses, and Alex Scott is actually a really shit footballer, even though previously he said in a tweet that she was a really good player.
I've just followed back. I like Alex. I think she's a great role model, a brilliant player in the women's game.
But then what he's trying to say is compared to men's, she's really shit. And do you know what? The guy's probably right. The best Sunday League team in the country could probably give the Lionesses a good game. It's a very physical game. I don't think they'd have the same level of fitness as the Lionesses, but physically they'd outdo them in every area. And, you know, I don't understand what he's gaining from throwing this at her. It's just abuse. It's just abuse. It's not like any sane person out there actually thinks that the Lionesses would beat the England team or something like that. I don't know where the exact level is. Maybe it is the best Sunday League team that would give the Lionesses a good game. I don't know where it is, but I just don't understand what Joey Barton is gaining by having this rant and throwing this abuse against Alex Scott. She's a great player in the female game. Why do you have to compare her to the men's game? It's like we all know that Novak Djokovic would absolutely destroy Serena Williams in a game. But does that really mean that Serena Williams is not qualified to talk about men's tennis? I mean, it's just utter nonsense. And like I say, going back to earlier, what he should have said is just called out a particular presenter, because, you know, maybe there probably is a few female presenters that get a little boost up because of inequality, and people want the numbers and people want female presenters, and maybe they do get a little boost up, and maybe they're not as great as other male presenters, but there are quality female football presenters out there, Alex Scott being a prime example. And just to say that all female presenters are not qualified to talk about football is just pure madness. Now, I don't know where this guy is going with this. He's just digging himself into a further hole that is just completely indefensible and complete nonsense. So I guess now he's just going to carry on with this rant about how female players could never be as good as men. Well, yeah, we know that. No one's denying that. I don't know where you're going with this. I really don't know where you're going with this. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one, guys. Please give me your comments down below. I love reading your comments. Where do you pose that question? Where do you think the Lionesses, the England team, the England female national team, where would they stack up? Would it be Sunday League team? Would it be Conference League 2? Could they give them a game? But who really cares? You know, more importantly, our female ex-footballers, not even ex-footballers, there's female presenters out there that just love the game, and have watched hours and hours upon hours of football and just love it and can analyse it better than anyone else. I mean, oh God, the same arguments go on for any sport, don't they? Formula One, Crofty, if you like your Formula One, the commentator on the Formula One has never driven a car in his life, but he's got expert analysis on the sport. Anyway, that's me done. That's my rant. If you like the video, click a like, and if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe up top. There'll be another video. You can catch that as well. Till next time, take care.